Yeah, when we got to Ramadi, it was the 228 National Guard unit out of Pennsylvania and reserve units that were on the ground, and I think they'd been there for 14 months. But boy, they were outstanding soldiers, all of them. It was a real honor to work with them a little bit and then get the turnover, and great guys. You ended up running training for like 21 out of your 25 years in the reserves. That's a lot of training to run.
I was, and once again, I'd say, you've heard me say this before, it's a God thing. Basically, the Army was the only service that really had a great process where we had reserve units whose wartime mission was to take over the training centers, like the Great Lakes Naval Training Center, But the Navy didn't have that. The Air Force didn't have that. The Marines didn't have that. We had reserve units that their wartime mission was to go to Fort Benning. For example, that was my division's mission, was to go to Fort Benning and take over the training of the infantry officers and recruits, not officers, the recruits at Fort Benning, so that the active duty soldiers that were already there, who were up to speed on everything, could go join fighting units, basically. So that was the mission. All right. So I joined, when I came off of active duty, I joined the 85th Training Division in Chicago, and that was an infantry training division at the time. And I was with them for 18 years. And I commanded at the company level, battalion level, brigade level, and I was the assistant division commander. And every year we would go on annual training to a active duty training fort, and we take over the training of the recruits. So I did it at Dix, I did it at Fort Bliss, I did it at Fort Ord, and then finally with the 70th, I did it at Fort Benning. And so then what happened was I was the commander of the 70th Division out of Livonia, Michigan, and Desert Storm came, okay? And I knew we were going to be mobilized. The handwriting was on the wall, okay? So I put together a list I had 16 subordinate units in my I had 3 brigades in training command and other things. And so I made a list of 1 through 16, and I prioritized them, okay? And it was a mixture of readiness and leadership. That's how I prioritized them. And I also had to be sensitive to, I had units in Indiana and Michigan. So I couldn't take all the Michigan units and leave out Indiana guys. That wouldn't have been fair, because everybody wanted to be mobilized.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to understand, this is when this would be the first time, okay? And we've been practicing for like 25 years,
You're ready for game day.
Yeah, so the question is, if the balloon went up, would people show up, And so I had this list, and I went to TRADOC, which was our higher headquarters at Fort Monroe, Virginia. And I said, listen, here's my list. Here's my division, okay? I said, use this list, and if you're going to mobilize my division or any part of my division, do it in this order. And don't screw with this. This is the best way my division will serve, the Army.
Did they comply?
Oh, yeah, they were delighted.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was the only division commander that had done that. So they went out to the other 11 division commanders and they, say, we need some lists, And they did exactly what I told them to do, because they mobilized half of my division. So they just went right down the list, down to 8 or 9, and that was it.